The biggest silver bull run in history isn't a prediction anymore, it's unfolding in real time. And what makes this moment so extraordinary is that the world is only beginning to recognize the scale of what's happening. Silver has always carried the reputation of being undervalued, overlooked, and underestimated, but today it's stepping into a role that aligns perfectly with the economic, technological, and geopolitical forces reshaping our world. What we're seeing is not a temporary spike but a structural shift, driven by fundamentals so powerful that the market simply cannot ignore them any longer. The first force accelerating this bull run is the extraordinary surge in industrial demand. Silver is no longer just a precious metal. It is a foundational component of the technologies that are defining our future. The electrification of transportation, the exponential rise of solar energy, and the increasing density of electronic devices per household all lean heavily on silver's unmatched conductive properties. Solar panels alone are consuming record-breaking amounts every year. As clean energy infrastructure expands across continents, silver demand is rising faster than any previous decade. The world has entered an era where silver is not optional, it's essential. At the same time, mine supply is tightening. Production has failed to grow at the pace necessary to match demand, and many of the world's largest silver mines have reached maturity. New discoveries are rare, and bringing a new mine online is a process that takes a decade or more. This creates a supply deficit that becomes more visible with each passing quarter. When demand accelerates and supply stagnates, a repricing becomes inevitable. Markets eventually correct imbalances, and when they do, prices move aggressively. Layered on top of this industrial transformation is the global search for stability. Inflationary pressures, geopolitical uncertainty, currency volatility, and rising debt levels have pushed investors toward hard assets. But gold, while still dominant, has become expensive for many retail participants. Silver provides a more accessible alternative with significantly higher volatility and therefore greater upside potential. Investors across the world are accumulating physical silver at the fastest pace in years. Silver coins, bars, and ETF are experiencing renewed interest from individuals, institutions, and sovereign buyers alike. This shift is not driven by speculation, but by necessity. People want protection. And silver offers a compelling balance between affordability and performance. What makes this bull run historically unique is the convergence of these forces all at once. In previous cycles, silver has typically been driven by monetary demand or industrial demand, rarely both simultaneously. Today, both engines are operating at full power. Clean energy transformation is pushing industrial consumption to record highs. Macroeconomic uncertainty is pushing monetary demand to multi-year peaks. This dual identity is amplifying the rally, and it is why this moment feels fundamentally different. Even more compelling is the market psychology. For years, silver lagged behind other assets, creating a long period of undervaluation. That gap is now correcting, as investors begin to realize how essential silver has become in next-gen technologies. Its narrative is shifting from alternative investment to strategic resource. Once narratives shift, capital follows, and once capital flows in, momentum builds. This is how historic bull runs begin, quietly, structurally, and then suddenly, unmistakably. We are witnessing the early stages of a multi-year revaluation, a rally fueled not by hype, but by the mathematics of supply and demand, by physics, by technology, and by global macroeconomic forces. Silver is not just catching up, it is breaking out, and when markets finally understand the scale of the transformation underway, the repricing could be unlike anything we've ever seen in the history of this metal. The biggest silver bull run in history has started, and it's only just beginning. The biggest silver bull run in history has just started, and what makes this moment so extraordinary is that the forces driving it are not speculative. They are structural, global, and accelerating faster than most analysts expected. Silver is stepping out of the shadows of being an overlooked asset and emerging as one of the most strategically positioned materials in the world. When a commodity becomes essential to both technological progress and financial protection, its value begins to rewrite itself. That is exactly what is happening right now. We are living through a technological transition that demands massive amounts of silver. From the exponential scaling of solar energy to the electrification of transportation, silver's role is irreplaceable. It is the most conductive metal on Earth, and that makes it the backbone of the clean energy revolution. Solar panels require more silver each year as efficiency improves and installation accelerates across continents. Electric vehicles are using more silver per unit as onboard electronics multiply. Advanced semiconductors, medical equipment, aerospace systems. These aren't optional industries. They are the pillars of modern civilization. When the world pivots toward electrification and sustainability, silver becomes the quiet engine behind that progress. Yet at the same time, mine production is not keeping up. Many large silver mines are aging, ore grades are declining, and new mining projects take years to develop. Supply growth has been stagnant while demand is climbing vertically. This creates a structural deficit, one that can't be solved quickly. When a commodity becomes essential and scarce simultaneously, markets eventually react with force. Prices don't just rise, they reprice, and silver is moving toward that moment. What's equally powerful is the monetary side of this story. In an environment of inflation, geopolitical tension, and weakening global currencies, investors naturally seek assets that preserve purchasing power. Silver has historically played that role alongside gold, but today the accessibility of silver makes it especially compelling. Retail buyers around the world are accumulating silver at the fastest pace in years, not because of hype, but because it feels increasingly necessary. They want a tangible hedge, something outside the traditional financial system, something real. Silver offers that, at a fraction of the cost of gold, with greater torque when markets shift, and markets are shifting. The financial world is watching the rise of hard assets again as traditional diversification strategies fail to protect against volatility. The correlation between global risk and silver demand is strengthening. Fund flows into silver-backed products are increasing. Smart money is positioning early because the asymmetry is obvious. Limited downside, immense potential upside. What makes this bull run different from past cycles is that both engines of silver's value, industrial demand and monetary demand, are firing at the same time. In previous rallies, silver typically surged because of one driver. Today, both are dominant forces, converging in a way that magnifies the impact. When an asset becomes indispensable to technology and attractive as a financial refuge, it enters a new paradigm entirely. We are witnessing the early stages of that paradigm shift. For years, silver was undervalued relative to its utility, its scarcity, and its strategic importance. Markets ignored it because they didn't understand how quickly the world would change. But now the data is undeniable, the fundamentals are undeniable, the trend is undeniable. The revaluation of silver has begun, not gradually, decisively, not temporarily, but structurally. As adoption accelerates and supply strains tighten, silver is moving into an era defined by necessity and scarcity. And when an asset becomes both necessary and scarce, history shows what happens next. It enters the kind of bull run that becomes a reference point for generations. The biggest silver bull run in history has started, and this time the world will not be able to look away. The silver breakout we're witnessing right now isn't just another market blip, it's the start of what could be the strongest rally of our lifetime. What's fueling this isn't hype or speculation, it's the collision of real demand, structural scarcity, and a world rapidly reshaping itself around technology, green energy, and global uncertainty. Silver is stepping into a role few predicted, but many will celebrate, First, the industrial demand for silver has exploded with the green energy revolution and technological transformation. As the world pours billions into solar energy, electric vehicles, 5G infrastructure, advanced electronics, and data-driven industries, silver has become an indispensable metal. Solar photovoltaic PV panels now consume hundreds of millions of ounces annually, large enough that the solar sector alone may soon require over 20% of the global annual silver supply. Business today plus 2 Wedbush investors plus 2 each solar panel, each EV wiring harness, each server in a data center, every advanced electronic circuit, many of them rely on silver's unmatched conductivity and reliability. That puts silver in the backbone of the world's energy and technology infrastructure. Meanwhile, supply can't keep up. More than 2/3 of global silver production comes not from dedicated silver mines, but as a byproduct of mining other metals, copper, lead, zinc. The economic times plus 2 Wedbush investors plus 2 ore grades are declining. Environmental regulations are tightening, and opening new mines or significantly boosting silver output can take many years. Ag by plus 2 Silver Phoenix 500 plus 2 as a result. The global silver market has entered its 5th consecutive year of structural deficit. Wedbush investors plus 2, the Silver Institute plus 2, when demand ramps up and supply is constrained, that isn't a temporary imbalance, it's a revaluation in progress. What makes this moment especially powerful is that 2 powerful drivers, industrial demand and macroeconomic demand, are working in tandem. Silver isn't just required by industry. It's also becoming a safer haven amid inflation, geopolitical tensions, and currency volatility. As economies deal with uncertainty and financial systems fluctuate, silver's dual identity as a necessary industrial metal and a tangible store of value gives it asymmetric upside. Insights Geogit Com plus 2 Wedbush investors plus 2. Moreover, unlike previous cycles where silver's value was driven by either investment demand or industrial demand, rarely both, today that dual engine is roaring. Green energy demand, electrification, global infrastructure upgrades, data-driven technology growth, and financial hedging are all pulling silver demand upward at once. The result, a momentum that isn't likely to fade quickly because it's rooted in long-term structural trends. We are not just seeing price appreciation, we are seeing a transformation of value perception. Silver is evolving from a secondary precious metal into a strategic resource, one that underpins the modern world and shapes its future. As this paradigm shift unfolds, the repricing is not just overdue, it may be historic. If you believe in a cleaner world powered by solar, a world electrified by EV, a world connected by advanced technology, and if you believe in preserving value when markets get uncertain, then silver isn't just a commodity. It's a bet on the future. The silver rally we're seeing right now isn't a coincidence, it's the beginning of something fundamental, powerful, and possibly historic. Silver is no longer just a metal for hype or speculation, it's becoming a cornerstone of the world's clean energy transition, advanced technology, and financial hedging all at once. The tectonic shift in how silver is valued as both an industrial necessity and a store of value is what's driving this breakout, and I believe we're witnessing its early, dramatic unwrapping. Global demand for silver has surged in ways that were unimaginable a decade ago. Industrial demand now accounts for nearly 60% of all silver usage. Wedbush investors plus 2 miners digest plus 2 key sectors: solar energy, electric vehicles, 5G and AI-driven electronics, semiconductors, and power grid infrastructure are eating up vast quantities of silver, leveraging its unmatched conductivity and reliability. Wedbush investors plus 2, the Silver Institute plus 2 solar photovoltaics alone are consuming a record share, and projections for the next few years show demand that could strain the supply system like never before. Bullion world +2 Swiss bullion +2 on the supply side. We face constraints that are unlikely to ease anytime soon. Most silver today is produced as a byproduct of mining for other metals, not from silver, dedicated mines. Wedbush investors +2, the Economic Times +2 ore grades are declining. New mines take years, often a decade, to develop, and environmental, regulatory, and cost barriers make rapid expansion unlikely. Wedbush investors +2, the outcome, a structural deficit that has persisted for several years, with demand consistently outpacing supply. NASDAQ +2, the Silver Institute +2, this imbalance between surging demand and constrained supply creates a powerful repricing dynamic. When a resource becomes essential for energy, for technology, for industry, and simultaneously scarce, the simplest laws of economics kick in. Price must reflect value. That's exactly what we're witnessing. As the world leans into decarbonization, electrification, digitalization, and infrastructure bill, doubt all silver, intensive, the pressure on supply will only increase. But beyond industrial utility, silver now carries another identity, that of a strategic asset, a hedge against economic uncertainty, inflation, and currency risk. In many markets, including emerging economies, silver is becoming an accessible alternative to gold for everyday investors seeking a store of value. Business Recorder +2 GTV News +2, when industrial demand and monetary demand align. That's when you get a bull run not confined to one sector, but sweeping across economies and investment portfolios alike. What makes this rally different from past cycles is precisely that convergence. Technology plus green energy plus financial hedging. In older cycles, silver's value swings were often driven by speculation or goal-linked safe haven flows. Today, the fundamentals are real, structural, and long-lasting. Silver isn't just catching up, it's breaking out, entering a phase where scarcity meets necessity at a global scale. We could be at the dawn of a long bull run, one driven not by hype, but by demand so real and supply constraints so deep that the current prices may look modest in hindsight. The world is changing energy systems, transport, electronics, infrastructure, and even how people preserve wealth. Silver sits at the heart of this transformation.